Okay, so let's get into the questions that you had in regards to the inventory. So for the dealers to make sure that their inventory is accurate, I always recommend them to do two things. First, check their inventory agent report, and second is to do their reconciliation. So I'm going to start with the report. Okay, so on the reporting portal, actually we have a lot of different inventory reports, but inventory agent is the one that we can use to make sure that we don't have any items sitting in our stock for a very long time, right? And believe me, a lot of dealers are very surprised that they have inventory which is there for more than over 2 years. So under system and reports, that's where we have all of the default layouts of the reports, right? We have inventory folder, and this is the inventory agent. It's a very easy report to work with, to read, right? We can filter it out by locations, products, vendors, and bins. For instance, if you want to see only devices, you can simply check your devices departments, which are Android, Android XP, EOL, right? Hotspot, maybe iPhone, and so on and so forth. So let's hit apply. And basically, so in the beginning of the report, we have the list of the items that we have in stock. This is the real-time data report, right? So it shows whatever you have in the stock at the moment. So we got the store, we got product ID, description of the item, bin, serial numbers, quantity, cost, agent store, age, and the aging company. So agent store, that's the one that shows how many days ago the item was added into the inventory. So if you, for example, click on the column header itself, it's going to put it into the numeric order, right? So if you click once again, it's going to show you like the higher number, right? And if you click again, it's going to show you the lowest number. So this is the one that we can use to see that, okay, I have a lot of items which are pretty old. Maybe they were sold outside of the system, right? So anything, we don't know that, but still we can make some investigation. At least we can take them out of the inventory. Or for example, when it comes to ordering new items, this is also a very good report to make sure that we're not ordering something which is not really popular among the customers, right? So if it's in the inventory for a very long time, nobody wants to buy it, so we don't have to order more. So that's one thing. And aging company, also a very good column if the dealer has like a lot of stores, right, in their company. Aging company will show the amount of the days when the product span in the database itself. So if, for example, we had a store transfer from store A to store B, then agent store will be like 1 day or 0 days, depending on when we're checking this report. But the agent company will show the total amount of the days when we added the product into the database initially. Okay. Maybe anybody has some questions about this report? I guess no question. Okay. All right.
So before you move on, Adam and Robert, I see Chris is also here, and Julia. I want to say hi to all of you. Is this something that you're looking for, right? This is what you want them to see.
Yeah, because if they got all that stuff, that's. Go ahead, Robert.
No, we definitely need that visibility, and unfortunately, we have very limited access to Elevate reporting. So whatever you guys showing right now, it's just basically you're feeding us this information, and some of us we seen it first time. So yep.
Okay, awesome. But this is something that when you walk into the dealer store, if you need to see it, just have them say, "Hey, listen, let's go into reporting and pull up your inventory aging report." Just like Catherine walked you guys through it.
Awesome. That's, yep.
Okay. All right. And the second thing that I mentioned was the inventory reconciliation, right? We do that using the inventory work center, and under inventory adjustment, that's where we have it, the inventory reconciliation. Depending on the amount of the stock and the number of the stores in the company, we usually recommend that to do that like once a week or once a month. I have dealers who are doing that every day. So this process, it consists of 2 steps. We have to count the stock. So basically we have to let the system know what items, what devices, what accessories we have in store, like physically. And the reconcile, that's what's going to help us to make sure that whatever we have in the store matches with whatever we have in the inventory in the system. So with the count stock, we can select different reconciliation areas. So it can be just devices. We have the select all devices button for that. It can be just accessories, right? Select all accessories, or we can select everything to reconcile the entire inventory. Once we hit OK, system gives us the pop-up that says that the stock will be locked while we're doing the blank count. This is a very important thing to remember as well. So the reconciliation should be done before the store opens or after it closes, so we don't have like any customers coming into the store, because with the stock being locked, it means that we cannot sell anything at the moment. So we'll just hit OK. And then we're going to have the physical stock count document. So at this point, we just need to take the scanner and scan every single device or accessory or pretty much every item that we have physically in the store, right? So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to scan a couple of items. So we're going to go like one by one with accessories. Like there's no way to manually add the physical quantity, right? So that's basically the transparency, if you will, right, of this process. And with the devices, we need to, of course, scan the IMEIs, right? So when I scan the UPC for the device, for the serialized item, it gives me the pop-up that we also have when we're adding devices to the inventory. So we need to add quantity and IMEIs. Let me scan a couple of more. And also the IMEI, it's also very important. We need to use the one that we're using for activations, right? For on the Boost portal. And once the user scan everything, we need to make sure to post the document, right? So in the top left corner, we have the post button. Our document is saved successfully. Perfect. Then right away we go to reconcile, and on the top, that's where you will see that blank count document that we just created, and you will be able to tell that that's the one by the date. So we select it, we press OK, and then a new document opens. It is called inventory reconciliation document. And in this document, we need to work with two tabs, the overstock and the deficit. So what we're going to see on the overstock, that's the list of the items that we do have in the store physically, but we don't have them in the system inventory, right? Maybe we just forgot to add them. So the system tells you, hey, you need to add this phones, this accessories, because you actually have them in the store and they are not in Elevate. So we're just going to check them all, hit create system adjustment, add, and then pause the inventory add document to confirm that we do want to add these products into our inventory, right? So now these products, they disappeared from the overstock. It means that we added them. Perfect. We move on to the deficit. That's where we're going to see the items that we don't have anymore in the store, but for some reason they're still in the Elevate inventory, right? So as we don't have them in the store, we need to remove them. Maybe they were just sold like outside of the system, right? That's a very common problem, right? When the users are not completing transactions correctly in the system. That's what we're going to talk about a little bit later. So we're going to again check all of the items, create system adjustments, subtract, and then the system will show us the inventory subtract document that we have to post. It has a lot of items on the list, so this is why it takes a couple of seconds to load the document itself. There we go. So we paused it. Perfect. They disappeared. Awesome. And then, of course, we need to complete the entire process by posting the inventory reconciliation document. Perfect. The process is done, right? We did the reconciliation, and now our stock is unlocked, and we are sure that our physical inventory matches our system inventory. So I'm going to pause here for the questions if anybody has any.
And if you're on the phone, you might hit *6 to unmute. Otherwise, if you're online, you said to unmute your microphone.
How do you guys protect employees from playing with the inventory? Like, is there any limitation when it comes to who can actually make any of those changes to inventory?
Yeah, a very good question. Thank you for that one. So, in the system, we have different roles, right? We have administrator, manager, sales rep, and viewer, and each role has a set of different permissions. So, basically, the administrator has access to everything, and the administrator is usually either the manager or the owner of the store, and they can decide who is responsible for what. For example, if in terms of inventory, the sales reps, they don't have access, they don't have a permission to subtract inventory, right? So they cannot use this item, and they cannot do what I just did with the deficit, right? So that's basically one way. And there's some other different permissions which our administrators in the system can check in the user administrator, in the role manager. And yeah, that's basically how the administrator can make sure that the people who have usernames, right, users in the system, they have access to whatever they need to have access to. So for the sales rep, for example, there is an inventory module with lots of different permissions, and yeah, basically the subtract one is that by default they don't have. Let me know if I answer your question.
Absolutely. I think what it's more important for the store owners and managers is to adjust those settings on the actual users, right? If they gave them that kind of access in the first place.
Correct, but initially the roles themselves, they were designed for this purpose, right? Like for the sales rep, I already mentioned the subtract permission. Also, they don't have access to user administrators, so they cannot do like any changes on their role, right? On their user, I mean. They don't have access to changing the prices. What else? Well, there are like a lot of things that they don't have access to. Reports as well. Sales rep don't have access to reports. But again, as you said, the admin can basically go through this permission tree and make sure that the role itself or the user, because there is a way to do that on the user level with the user of rights manager. Or like if we don't want to make changes on the role level, we can do changes on the user level with the help of user of rights manager. So this is the way they can make sure that the person doesn't have access to whatever they are not supposed to have access to, or vice versa. Okay. Let me know if there's any other questions.
Robert, does that answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for your question.
So before she goes on, before you go on, we give reps very limited access to anything. So they're able to do a count, but they're not able to reconcile. So if let's say the manager wanted somebody, let's say Adam and me are working together, and I tell Adam, hey, Adam, I'm not going to be here this week. So this week only, I'm going to change your permissions. I'm going to allow you to reconcile. That permission could be added or removed at any time that the admin wants to add it for that representative. So that is something also that you can look into as a dealer if that's something that you want.
And then they can do that manually, or they're going to contact you to make those changes?
No, they could do it in the manager override.
Very good.
Also, right here towards the right, if you want to circle the help center, Catherine, you see here, anything. I know that last week I think somebody called me. I think Adam told him to call me. If you go into it, in every one of these, in the purchase, order online, return to vendor, store transfers, we have a help center. Now, our trainers take a lot of time in building these platforms for you. So if you click on any of them, let's say you want to do how to zero out inventory, which is pretty much the most common. If you click on that, can you click on that for us, Catherine? It's going to actually do two things for you. It'll show you a video on how to do it step by step. And if you keep on moving down, it also gives you descriptions on how to do it step by step manually. So you don't need to see the video. So the training team takes a long time to set these up. A lot of people don't see it. They'll call support and, hey, I want to zero out my inventory, or I don't know how to do an inventory count. All the information is there for you towards the right. So you need to remember the help center that we do put there. I hope that's very good information for all of you as well.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I guess with that we can continue to the sales part, right? So as I deleted everything in my inventory, I'm gonna just quickly add a couple of accessories to show you the quick sale. Okay, so I'm gonna open my cash drawer, cash register in the system. I'm gonna open it with 0 because I don't have any regular cash amount, but everybody, if the dealer has a regular cash, they can use the float adjustment to track it as well. Okay, so basically the register, it has a lot of different flows, right? The quick sale at the very bottom is the simplest one. We use it for accessory sales, right? So how to use it? We just need to scan the barcode of the accessory into the quick sale and press enter to add it to the shopping cart, right? If we need to add some other items, we can scan them into this field and then it's going to be added, right? And also there is an add item option, so we can use the VAP POS to load bill payments to the same invoice, and phone activation to add activations. Once we have everything that we need on the shopping list, we go towards the right bottom and hit apply discounts and checkout. There's any like in-store discounts for accessories. There is a coupon discount manager for that, where our dealers can create different coupons. And this is basically where you will see them, right? So if you want to apply it, you just click on it. If you want to remove it, use the red cross. And then we hit make payment and charge the customer. So we add the total. For example, my customer has 100. Press enter. We got the change here. We press OK. And only at this point, when we have the pop-up for the receipt printing, only after that is going to be the transaction itself is recorded, right? So it's very important that each single transaction is completed up to this point, because otherwise it's not going to be on the sales log viewer, it's not going to be on the reports, it's not going to be recorded in the system. So this is very important. So that goes not only for the quick sale, but for all kinds of transactions, right? The customer sale, phone activation, the bill payments, and pretty much everything. Let's then continue right away with the phone activation. It has a little bit more things to discuss and to cover. That's basically the platform that we're using for different kind of activations, right? For the new single line, we got the porting, we have activation and BYOD. For the existing account, we have, again, our add lines. There also will be the device exchange. I mean, it already is. It's just a different environment. I don't have it here. And the primary account maintenance with the upgrade, boost up, plan change, feature change, and SIM swap. I have a training video that basically shows all of the steps in details for the new single line activation and the bill payment flow as well. And I'm going to use it to explain to you all of the steps from A to Z. And basically the new single line activation is the common scenario for all kinds of activations. But it's important to mention also that you always need to make sure to start with the correct button for the contract type in the first place. For example, if we're talking about upgrade or porting, you have to do eligibility check inside of the system. This is very important, right? Same goes, well, we have all of the contract types in the Boost Wizard. That's the platform that I was showing. So always make sure to start with the correct button. The new single line. So from the very beginning, we go to phone activation, then the new single line, and then we go to activation. For new activations, as a part of the API promo integration, we added apply promotion step. So what the step is for, it's basically used for the additional coupons redemption, like Facebook promo or SMS promo, and also the golden ticket redemption as well. The important thing to remember about this kind of promo code is that it can be used only one time on a transaction, and we have the message reminding the user about that, right? So if the customer has this kind of promo code, you have to enter it into the placeholder and redeem it. But if there's no promo code, you can skip this part. Just hit next. And on the next tab, we go to the Boost portal, right? So Elevate is basically integrated with the Boost portal. So it's going to be open inside of the system, and we proceed with the activation. I'm pretty sure that everybody on the call knows what to do on the Boost portal, so I'll just speed up a little bit here because we're not changing anything. We're just activating our fund as usual, with creating the pane, with entering customers' information, with selecting the service plan, right, and with the with adding the features. So once we got our fund activated on the portal and we're on the last step payment, we have to click Pay by ePay POS. Okay, and then hit continue. And after that, we're going to see load to POS orange button in the right bottom corner. So that's the button that will let us download activation to the system. So that's how it's integrated, right? Before we do that, we need to copy the number that was activated because it's going to be added to the Boost wizard. And then we go ahead and click on load to POS. And we're going to be redirected back to the Boost wizard. So we add the number and the PIN, and then we have the ePay payment. So it's going to launch the ePay POS so we can put the money on the account, right, on the bill payment portal. So it's basically the usual ePay POS, and the flow here is exactly the same. And then we, well, actually, that's the important part. We need to click on View Receipt because that will trigger another load to POS. So the idea is that we're loading everything back to the system, the activation and the bill payment. So we hit Load to POS. And after the bill payment, user will always see the customer search results screen. System will be asking if you want to create the profile for the customer who you're doing this bill payment for. That can be done for the marketing purposes, or for example, if the customer wants to open a store account at your store. So you can just hit Add New and create the profile. But as it is not mandatory, you can also hit Cancel. If we cancel it, for example, then we're going to just be redirected back to the Boost wizard. And what's going to happen next? So we got our bill payment added to our shopping cart. It's already there. It's already done, right? So we press OK, and then we press the Download to POS green button because we need to load our activation to the card as well. But before the shopping cart, we will always see the activation screen, which is good because we need to make sure that everything is correct here on our activation. And the most important part is the contract type, right? Because that's basically what our coupons depend on. So make sure that the contract type is correct. And then you can use the memo placeholder to add a PIN code or any kind of note that you want to leave on this activation. And then we just hit Process to confirm that everything is correct. And we're going to be redirected to the shopping cart. So what we have in the shopping cart, we got the Boost RTR. That's going to be the product for the bill payment. That's the one that we have the amount for the MRC. The next one is 0 because this is just a description of the service plan. Okay. And we have the device, and if it is qualified for any kind of promotion, we're going to see the specific name of it right next to the device. So the price of the phone will be already the final one. Okay, we are returning the promotions via the integration. And we got the device setup charge, right? So for new single line, we're adding $25. For add-a-lines, we add $15. And for new upgrades, we add $35. The fees will be added to the cart automatically. Again, if there is a need to add some other bill payments, some other activations, some other accessories, we have this field, scan product here field, and we have add item. Once we have everything that we need, we go ahead and click on apply discounts and checkout. On the coupon screen, that's where you will be able to apply some additional coupons for activations if needed, or for accessories. And then we just hit make payment. And in the tender screen, we select our payment type, cash, credit, debit card, transaction. And we just add the total. Press OK. And we're done. And we can print the receipt. So again, let me repeat myself. This is the scenario for all kinds of activations. You launch the Boost wizard, you select the contract type, you go to the Boost portal to process the activation itself, right? If needed, we do the bill payment, we'll load everything to the POS. This is very important. And then we download it to the POS. Then we have everything in the shopping cart, we apply our coupons, and we tender out the seal. So again, every single transaction has to be completed up to this particular screen. Only then it's going to be recorded in the system. Any questions?
Is everyone clear on what Catherine went through?
So what would be the reason for someone that is going through this process not to actually get these devices off their system? So we have several dealers that were actually processing activations and payments this way, and they're still showing excessive amount of inventory in Elevate. What is it that they're not doing right?
Very often mistake, if you will, is that sometimes dealers, if they're adding their devices manually into the inventory, they scan, because on the box we have like a lot of these different numbers, right? IMEI, ESN, and so on and so forth. And sometimes they scan, for example, the ESN, and on the portal they are using the IMEI. Of course, the system is asking them, like in the middle of the activation, it is asking them, is that the customer fund? Because it's looking for the number, but it's not there, right? So sometimes they're just getting confused, or if the dealer has a lot of clients waiting in a queue, right? They just want to get this done quickly, and they would just like go with the BYOD, right? Just hit yes, it is a customer's device, and complete this transaction. So what do we have as a result? The phone is still in their Elevate inventory. So that might be the reason, a very common one actually. Gloria, maybe you have some other.
Yeah, and just to piggyback on what Catherine is saying, a lot of DCI and the majority of our DCI dealers have the Handshake Connect. A lot of them do not finish accepting these devices into the system. So what happens with the Handshake Connect is that when they go in and they look at their PO order and they accept these devices, they're not accepting all of them. Or some of them do it manually. So now they're accepting against the PO order. So what happens is that now they have all these devices in the system that they probably had sold already, but they're re-entering them to make sure that they're accepting their PO orders. Do you guys understand that?
Yeah, I think we get it.
Is it possible for you to show that, Catherine, in inventory?
What exactly?
So it's the PO order. So DCI has, if you're in an Elevate, just go into the inventory.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, well, it's actually a very common case that the dealers are simply not using the handshake integration. And I have like a lot of tickets with the request to delete the POs, because it's like hundreds of them there. They're just not using it and doing the inventory manually, and basically they can do it in a wrong way. So Gloria, want me to show how to accept the PO?
Yes, please. With DCI, it's going to be under, I believe, the name DCI.
Yeah, I understand, but I have to like create it first. Okay, so let's go with this one.
So we're here. We're showing you something on the fly because I didn't prepare Catherine for that. I have to be very appreciative for Catherine today.
Thank you, Catherine.
My pleasure, of course. Yeah, so basically this is what the dealer will see if they have the handshake approved, if they did an order, and they are waiting for their funds, right? So usually we explain that you have to wait for the funds to be shipped to the location, and then you can post this PO draft from the DCI, right? So they need to click on draft, select their purchase order draft, press OK, and then I'm not sure if the ones from DCI are coming with the IMEIs already or no. Gloria, do you know if
I believe
the list is complete?
I believe DCIs comes with their IMEIs already.
Yes, they do.
Mm-hmm. DCI is one of the few that does that.
Perfect. Very easy for them. They just
yeah,
right, and they just need to make sure that everything is corresponding, right, with whatever they have on the document and whatever they have delivered to the store, and then just pause the document. It's like 2 minutes and that's it. So that's what they are supposed to do, and very often they just do the manual flow.
Mm-hmm. Or they don't accept it at all. But then let's say Chris walks into Woody's store. He said, "Hey, brother, you didn't set up the handshake connect." I see that Renata's here.
It sounds like Chris. Huh?
Oh yeah, I remember those days. But at least our inventory.
Remember Renata?
Oh, I remember. I'll never forget.
Renata's one of mine and Catherine's favorite friends out there in the DCI world.
I miss you, Gloria.
I miss you too. So what happens is they receive it like on the fly. So, okay, so Chris is here. Let me just do it and let me just receive it, right? Because now I don't want to get in trouble. That phone could have already been sold. And now it's going to be sitting in your inventory until you do an inventory wipe. Or go back in and remove it from the inventory adjustment. So those are the little common errors that we've seen in the field. Normally when I am out in the field, those are things I do touch on is PO orders. We go with the reps to make sure that they download to POS. We do the majority, the training team. Catherine is the lead of the training team. So if any of you that are on the call need training, just let her know and she'll send out the links for both trainers and they'll be able to train you. Then we also have webinars, right, Catherine?
Yeah, every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we have webinars at 12 Eastern. And I mean, well, if we can, I can just take the email addresses and send out the webinar schedule to everybody. Well, but you can also find it on the B2B Help Center, which I highly recommend to use. That's our knowledge base, which we already mentioned earlier. It has pretty much everything that we're teaching on webinars and on trainings as well. So with the webinars, you can find the schedule right here, POS Weekly Webinars. So the Tuesday one, that's the one that when we're discussing the inventory in particular. We will also have sales webinars, advanced admin webinar, and reporting and KPIs webinars.
And as well, we've created some of these documents in Spanish. So the dealers that are not very fluent in English are able to use them as well.
Yeah, we are right now, well, one thing regarding the webinars, I just recall that we actually recorded them recently. So if, for example, somebody doesn't have time at 12, right, you can just watch the video. That's the recording of the entire webinar, right? And for the Spanish, we're right now in the process of translating all of the important articles in our knowledge base to Spanish as well, so that we can help our dealers more to understand the POS. I think the activation part, yeah, we do have it, integración, if I'm pronouncing it correctly.
Correctly.
Awesome. Yeah, so there are like over 14 articles already in Spanish on boost activation. that's a lot, and we encourage our dealers to use this as well if Spanish is more comfortable.
Yeah, for them. I want to thank Adam for putting this call together. And if there is anything needed from the AM team, I'm always here. I believe I've worked with everybody on this chat. So if you need anything from me, Adam could give you my information, as well with Catherine. I mean, is there any other questions that anybody else on the field has, be it for the account management team or for Catherine?
Yep, Gloria, I saw the one question that you're going to have the rep follow up with you after the call. So in addition to that one, I did get texted a question. They said you guys showed how to do the standard activation on the POS side, but you didn't show the port in way with no port in. A port in way with a port in, it usually takes 10 minutes wait to make the
e-pay payment. Yes.
If they do a port in on the POS, will they have to wait the 10 minutes? If so, will that hold up the POS?
It won't hold on. Catherine, I'll answer this. It won't hold on the POS. They'll just download to the POS without taking the e-payment until they take they could take the e-payment in the cash register, just like Catherine showed you in the first part when she was doing the accessories.
Perfect. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I have no questions. Thank you, though.
Oh, thank you, Renata.
You're welcome.
Well, thank you guys so much. Thank you, Catherine. Thank you, Gloria. I know this call went a little longer for you guys, but this is very important, right? This is going to impact your day-to-day operations. So if we're not doing it 100% today, we need to be doing it 100% tomorrow. So let's get your inventory balanced. Make sure all your sales are going through Elevate. Thank you so much for your time. If you have any questions, reach out to your DCI account manager, and we will send you over to Gloria.
Yeah.
We'll have a great day.
No worries. No worries.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you again.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And please join our weekly webinars. We are doing them every single week. So we will be waiting for you on the webinars also.
Perfect.
Thank you, guys.
Catherine. All right.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day, everybody.
Have a great day.